Graphing a linear equation in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Many students have a lot of experience with this form from high school. The example that I'll work with is y equals negative 4x minus 2. In slope-intercept form, the y needs to be by itself, and then the x term is next. That x term helps us find the slope, and lastly, this number at the end is the y-intercept, and it helps us know where to start on the y-axis. Okay, let's take a look at the example that I have. It says graph y equals negative 4x minus 2. First thing I like to identify is the slope. The slope in this case is negative 4. It's the number in front of x. I change this to a fraction. As a fraction, this is negative 4 over 1. Or positive 4 over negative 1. It doesn't matter which version you have, but only one of the numbers is negative since the slope was negative. Remember, if both the numerator and denominator had been negative, that would actually create a positive because two negatives make a positive. Our slope is negative, so we only want one negative. Okay. So down below, you'll see that I wrote the rise equals 4 and the run equals 1, and I haven't paid attention to the negative. That's because the negative actually tells us the direction the graph is going to be. In this case, it says the negative on the fraction tells us the graph will fall to the right. So as you're graphing, it falls down to the right. When you encounter a different type of fraction, if the fraction is positive, then the graph would rise to the right. Okay, so I've identified different pieces of my slope. Now I'm going to move on to identifying the y-intercept. The y-intercept is notated with the letter b. And at this case, it equals negative 2, since that's the number at the very end of the equation. This b is a y-intercept, which is actually a point on the y-axis. So since it's a point, I describe it as an ordered pair. The x value is 0. It's always 0 for a y-intercept. And then the y value of negative 2. This y-intercept is actually the point that we start with when we graph. So we come over to our graph, we put the point at 0, negative 2. And then I use my rise of 4 and my run of 1. What I like to do is from this y-intercept of negative 2, I like to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1 to the left, since I know that my graph needs to have this falling to the right. The next thing I like to do is go back to my y-intercept, and I like to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1 to the right. I have 3 points. Makes that easier to draw a straight line. I'm done graphing.